Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video on Gran Turismo 7. In today's video we're going to be going through next week's daily race tracks and possible combinations. It's pretty hard this week to predict them combinations, but we're going to give you some rough guesses and also the tyre wear and other features of these races. So to start off with next week's daily race A, we are at Lagos Major and it's the West version, ×1 tyres, ×1 fuel, and it is a standing start and it's going to be on comfort soft tyres. Now this to me hints some form of older car. This car, for example, runs standard on comfort soft tyres. It would make a really good and a pretty entertaining combo for a daily race A actually if it was used in the old Carrera there. I did a lap here just to get a feel of the track, see what sort of, to let you see the layout as it's driven so you can see, will I do this daily race A? You can see going into turn one standing start at this track very often can be quite chaotic, so could be quite an interesting daily race A if it's a car like this. It could be any car though, just remember this, we are just putting some rough estimates for cars for these races because this week is a very difficult week to actually predict the cars that are going to be used. But if it is a car like this, it would be actually pretty entertaining because it's a very small car. It makes the track look even wider than it actually is because you've got so much space around the track to do overtaking, so it would make it a very enjoyable combination. It's not actually that bad version of Lagos Major, this one. It's a reasonable length lap. If it is this track, if it is this type of car, I predict 4 or 5 laps. I don't think it would be much more than 5 laps because it's not the shortest track in terms of length. It's a reasonable length track, so yeah, 4 or 5 laps for daily race A. But yeah, potential for some pretty decent racing on this combination. It's not my favourite, as most people know. Lagos Major is not my favourite track, but I think there's potential to have some chaos and some pretty decent racing with a car like this. Now it could be anything there in this combination to be used because it could be a hatchback car, it could be anything, but with it comfort soft tyres, I don't know, I just feel like it's going to be an older car with it being on comfort soft tyres and something a little bit more nostalgic to drive. So let's hope it's something like this. It would be actually pretty interesting if it is, and it would actually be a decent combination as we're coming up to the final corner now, which is obviously that fast sweeping left hand corner, which then goes back into turn 1 for the sharp left hand corner. So yeah, loads of overtaking opportunities actually in a track like this, in a car like this, so would actually make a pretty decent daily race A. So moving on now to what we will be possibly doing for daily race B. We know the combination in terms of the track and we know the settings, so we are going to Road Atlanta for daily race B. Now again, racing hard tyres, ×1 fuel, rolling start makes it very difficult because of the fact that we haven't got a group 3 race for daily race C. This makes this very, very hard to predict whether it's going to be group 4 or group 3. I'm really not sure. The part of me says it probably won't be group 3 because we've had group 3 as a daily race B this week with the exact same settings, but part of me also thinks it might be group 3 because we've not got a group 3 daily race C, which normally happens if you haven't got a daily race C in group 3, then very often you'll have a daily race B in group 3 to compensate for that. So yeah, it's going to be 50. I'm 50-50 between group 3 and group 4. It's a very difficult one. If it's group 3, we know the Genesis and the Nissan are pretty good on the hard tyres. There might be some other cars that might creep up there on hard tyres actually as well, because obviously there are some cars that are specifically good on hard tyres. It also depends on setup options that will be available for that combination. I'm not too sure where, how in depth they'll be, whether they'll be default setups or whether they'll allow suspension tuning. But if it is group 4, we know that Mazda will probably be pretty strong here because of the insane acceleration on the main straight. It would probably be untouchable on that straight in terms of speed. There will be some other cars that will be reasonable over the lap, like Ferrari, McLaren and stuff like that. But in terms of raw pace here, I would predict that the Mazda Group 4 car, the new one, will be very strong. You can see now, as we're going on this straight now, it is just going to obliterate all the competition in Group 4 here. Now, one thing which would be nice for this daily race would be a different time of day. I really think like maybe they could run this in the night time, but whether they will, this is totally down to PD and we don't have that information yet. But running this race at night time or in the evening would make it visually much better, I think, and more enjoyable, just a bit of variety. So yeah, let me know what you think about that as well, whether you'd like to see like a night race here for a daily race B. With it only being a short race, add something into it like a night race. I think it would make it pretty entertaining. But yeah, that's your decision. Remember, by the way, if you do enjoy this video, to hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comment section what you think the races might be as we move on to daily race C now. And now this is at Autopolis Same settings, ×1 fuel, ×1 tyre wear, heavy damage on, and it's on sports soft tyres. And throw into that the fact that we've got a standing start and you've got some possible chaos in especially some lower lobbies that I actually think it might be a mistake to run heavy damage on in some of the lower lobbies. We'll have to wait and see. It might work out a good thing, it might work out a bad thing, but we won't know until we see the actual car. I'm running this in the Mazda touring car because it is a possible combination for this. It could be the Radicals, it could be some pre-tuned road cars, it could literally be anything. You've got, you know, the new Porsche they added, the Lexus LFA. There's just so many different cars they could use. They could even do a pre-tuned like hypercar race like they did with the Trial Mountain, and then throw in some older cars as well, or some supercars, sorry, rather than hypercars. It's just literally got potential for anything. It's very hard to predict with it being on the sports soft tyre. But yeah, there is also an element that could be a factor in this race of either scripted or dynamic weather, because Autopolis does have them settings, and with it being on ×1, especially also with it being on sports soft tyres, does throw an element of a possibility of that. Now, it's probably going to be static weather, dry. You know what PD are like. They don't tend to risk anything, but there is a chance that there could be some scripted weather in here or some dynamic weather, because when you are on sports soft tyres, you do not have the ability to use intermediate or wet tyres because they can cope with rain anyway. So that kind of adds an option of there being no pit stops, but you just have to cope with the weather and drive it, because they will cope with rain up to pretty much heavy rain. They'll cope with intermediate rain. They will not cope very well when it gets really, really heavy though. So if it gets really heavy, they won't cope with it. So it does make me think maybe PD have put some scripted weather into the mix, that, you know, it's a certain amount on a certain place of the track and you just have to deal with it through the race. Would make the race interesting, but maybe this is asking a bit too much of PD. I don't know. Let me know what you lot think in the comment section. I'm not too sure if it'll actually be in there, but I'm just throwing it in there. It's a possibility for this race. It would be nice to have it in there, but as a track in this car, it would actually make a reasonably entertaining race around this track in the Mazda. But like I say, it could be anything, radicals, road cars, but we know 100% it is this track for Daily Race C. In terms of laps, if it's a car like this, in terms of lap time, I'm predicting around 8 laps to be done for the race. I don't see it being much more than that, because road cars generally slow around the lap. It's quite a long lap in a road car. It's got a lot of corners, so you can't take the speed like you would in a Group 3 car or anything faster. So yeah, probably around 8 laps if it is this car or something like this. But yeah, that is this week's daily races. Let me know in the comment section what you think about these races. Are you going to be doing? Which race will you be doing in terms of track? Obviously, we're not 100% sure on the cars, but yeah, what track tends to suit you most? Let me know in the comments, and I'll be back with these videos hopefully every week from now on to let you know what the races are and my predicted races. We do tend to get them right normally, but this week is very, very difficult to guess whether, you know, Group 3 or Group 4, because it's quite hard with the tyre combinations. So yeah, I'll see you all again soon for more videos and live streams. Thanks again for watching, everyone.